Morris, Caruso, Kuzma, these guys stepped up. This was a game that, in my opinion, if the Miami Heat was at full strength, this series could be 1-1. But right now, as hard as the Miami Heat are playing, as well coached as they are, they're just shorthanded. They don't have enough bodies. And they had guys step up. Kelly Olynyk stepped up. Kendrick Nunn played well. Guys were playing well. They're just running out of bodies. They need more, and I don't know where they're going to get more from.
LeBron and AD look like they've been playing together a lot longer than they have. I mean, they both did great things apart from each other, so that was natural with their talents. But to have that sync that they have is pretty impressive.
Yes, no, the chemistry that they have, and there's been so much conversation over the last couple of days, is AD the best player that LeBron James has ever played with? Well, I think he complements him extremely well, especially at this point in time in his career. And then when you look at the combination of their size, combined with Dwight Howard, combined with Kyle Kuzma in that front court, and JaVale McGee, it's so impressive. And in the age of so much small ball, so much three-point shooting, the Lakers went an opposite direction and said, we're going to go big, we're going to go strong, and we're going to go athletic, and they have been dominant in this postseason.
Yeah, you talked after game one about the Lakers having that advantage, both talent and size. Those are two good advantages to have. And then the Heat, they don't have Bam out there, so they're missing the guy in the middle. What was talked about, both from Butler and the coach, was simply we needed to try harder, play harder. Do you really think anybody was lethargic out there, or are they just saying, hey, we're just going to have to dig deep and find a will and find a way?
Well, I'll say this, just from being around former Miami Heat players, that's just their mantra in Miami is no one cares. We have to do it harder. We have to play harder. Not saying that they can't make adjustments, but that's what the Miami Heat and the organization have always focused on. We're not focused on other players. We're not focused on other teams. We're focused on how hard we play. But in my opinion, even Erik Spoelstra said it, because this was a much better effort. Now, this type of effort at full strength most likely would have led to a win if they had Bam. But the Lakers are doing everything that they're supposed to. They're taking care of business. They're taking down a shorthanded team. You don't want to give them light, because if this series gets prolonged, now all of a sudden maybe Bam Adebayo's shoulder starts feeling better after 4 or 5 days, and then he's able to come back. So you want to keep them down while they're down.
Richard Jefferson, thanks for your time. Enjoy Game 3. We'll see you Sunday.
Thank you.
So Anthony Davis got a lot of praise there, and deservedly so. Davis in a pretty solid company here. Just the 5th player to score 30 points in each of his first 2 career NBA Finals games. Kevin Durant was the last to do it. That was in 2012 with the Thunder. Jordan the last before him back in 1991. Then you got Rick Barry and Hal Greer way back in 1967.
Well, joining us now here on SportsCenter, Rajon Rondo, the 49th time in his playoff career he's dished out 10 or more assists, goes for 16 and 10 here. Rajon, let me ask you a big picture question first, because coming into this game, you knew that the Heat would be shorthanded. And from a mentality standpoint, as you well know, that's not something you can allow everyone to look at and say, we're going to take a step back because we know they don't have their squad. How do you guys keep that motivation when you know the other team's going to be so shorthanded?
It starts with our leaders, coming into the game with this mindset, knowing that, 2 of the star players are out. But nevertheless, the team is in the final. So they didn't get there, but just about 2 players, so it takes a team effort. We want to come out and respect those guys on the floor tonight.
I guess another thing you expected was Miami to go to that zone at some point in this game, but it appears as if that you guys were ready for it. I mean, that's good scouting, obviously. What was your approach when you knew that they were going to go to that zone defense?
Let's go with what we worked on. Last 2 days we've been going over how to dissect the zone. Coach did a hell of a job of drawing plays up for us, and we came out to execute the ball.
We just heard from LeBron talking about the Kobe Mamba jerseys you guys are wearing, and clearly, based on what happened, his tragic death in January, been some of a motivation for you guys this season. How do you put into words to the fans watching at home, Rajon, kind of what that spirit from Kobe is doing for you guys in this moment?
Just come out with a killer mindset. He always played every game like it was his last, and putting on that jersey means a lot to everyone in that locker room. So we understand the legacy and what it holds, and we want to go out there and continue to try to build our legacy as a team and for Kobe as well.
Kobe, of course, won 5 championships with the Lakers. You've already won a championship in your career, but you've got a lot of guys on this team that haven't. You've got a 2-0 lead. What will your message be to the younger guys in the squad?
We've got to have a kill set mentality. This team, like I said, obviously at first they're in the finals for no reason. and we want to come out every game and play as hard as we can. And this will be a big game. It's the biggest game of the season, the biggest game of this series, and we come out and look forward and to attack.
Well, you are 2 wins away from your second NBA championship and also be the first for Anthony Davis and the first for Frank Vogel. Not bad for a trio of former Wildcats. Rajon, appreciate the time. Go Cats.
No problem.
Kobe got a lot of mention there, and he gets some more here. Lakers are now 20-1 this season when LeBron and AD combined for at least 60 points. According to Elias, do not question Elias. Elias Sports Bureau says that's tied with Shaq and Kobe from the 99-2000 season for the best record by any teammates in NBA hit when combining for at least 60 points, minimum 15 such games.
All right, Tim Legler joins us now here on SportsCenter. And Tim, you've been talking about this Miami Heat zone defense that they displayed a couple games ago and why it was so effective for them at those intervals. And we just heard Rajon Rondo talk about it. What did you see from it tonight in terms of how the Lakers were able to handle it?
Yeah, the Heat had great success against Boston. There's no question that has had a huge factor in them winning that series. But this is a completely different animal. First of all, you've got size and skill that you could put in the middle of this. And I just thought their play construction and making a concerted effort to get the ball to the middle, to get the ball to the short baseline, the 2 areas on the floor that you absolutely have to get it to attack. You see the way they reverse sides of the floor. When you do that, you end up getting 2 guys in the same place at the same time, which you had Hero and Butler do. And as a result, LeBron is able to hit AD on the cut. Here, once again, keep place to occupy, middle. Morris gets the ball right at the foul line. You're going to pinch in the wings. Wide open 3 out on the perimeter once again for the Lakers attacking that zone. So I just thought that their approach to it was proper in that they understand if you get the ball into the interior of a zone, you are going to have to react and you're going to force multiple communications. When you do that, you're more likely to create some sort of a mistake. I thought Lakers did a great job of it the entire game. They're clearly ready for it. Miami has had great success using it throughout the season and in the postseason. But this team has too much. They've got too much size and athletic ability in the paint and along the baseline, and then their role players have been knocking down shots. That's the one thing Erik Spoelstra was hoping wouldn't happen, but so far the Lakers role players have been on point with their shooting, and there's just been relentless offensive pressure they've put on this team.
Yeah, and scheme is one thing, but you have Rajon Rondo and LeBron James, 2 guys with maybe the highest basketball IQ of their generation executing against that zone. That's a nightmare for an opposing team. There's no question about that. Let me ask you about the fact that AD was able to take advantage of a smaller Heat lineup, especially without Bam Adebayo out there. I mean, granted, he's one of the best players in the league. You give him any type of advantage, he's going to do work, and he did that tonight. Yeah, he's really their only big-time athlete up front. So you take him off the floor, the zone is going to be even smaller than normal, and it's already 4 wing players basically in Bam Adebayo. And what happens in a zone defense, you don't have a specific guy to block out. So as a result, Anthony Davis, and this is where he really, I thought, just absolutely imposed his dominance on the game. He's getting these running starts from out on the perimeter with smaller players trying to do the best they can to get a body on him. But you can see how he just had 3 consecutive possessions where he completely overwhelmed Miami with his size, his length, and then his touch. And so even when Miami could force the Lakers into taking a 3-point shot with a hand up, Anthony Davis was cleaning up all of those misses because you have smaller bodies trying to get a check on a guy that's moving at them with a high rate of speed. It's just an impossible task for guys like Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, even a guy like Jimmy Butler. Giving up that kind of size, you're asking an awful lot. And Anthony Davis, I thought, in that 3rd quarter, made sure that Miami was not going to make a significant run. So too much size, Mike, too much talent. And so far through 2 games, too much shooting. And that's the one thing that Miami thought they had an advantage in this series. But the Lakers have done enough of that to free up all that inside room for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I mean, they're down 2-0. You got 2 of the best players in the league on the other side, and you're shorthanded with Miami. If there's any way, Tim, that you could give some Miami Heat fans hope right now that they could win Game 3, what would have to happen in order for that to play out? Well, I think, first of all, Bam Adebayo has to play. They just don't have enough athletic ability on the front line if he's not on the floor. So that's the first thing. And I don't know if he's going to. There's talk that he might be available on Sunday. Hopefully he will be. And then they're going to go look at their zone. I mean, I pointed out what the Lakers did well,
But honestly, this was not the best effort that Miami has had defensively in that zone. I thought they had a ton of communication errors where they ended up with 2 guys on the basketball. That's a cardinal sin when you're playing a zone defense. The whole point is to make sure that you've got the interior sealed off and you've got guys matched up with shooters so you can close out quickly, get a hand up. If you end up with 2 guys on the ball, you're never going to catch up to it. And I thought there were just a number of possessions in this game that Erik Spoelstra can go to the tape and say, this isn't us. This isn't us at our best. Let's clean this up. You get Bam back on Sunday. This team, I think, scored enough tonight to stay confident. They've got to be much better defensively, and that's what Bam Adebayo and some good film work can do. So that's my best pitch for the Miami Heat fan base to get back in this series on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a scary scenario to say the least, considering what we've seen here in the first 2 games. Only thing scarier, Tim Legler's house during Halloween. Appreciate you, brother.
That's it, Mike. You got it.
Michael asked about giving Heat fans.
Just finished your junior year in high school, 2002. Kobe and Shaq both go for 30-plus against the Nets. Game 3, the finals. You, of course, were then drafted the next year. You and AD, it's the first time Lakers teammates have done that since then. Just wondered if you were, like, your thoughts on the Kobe-Shaq dynamic and kind of what it's like going through a game like today with AD, especially at a similar level of efficiency.
You know, obviously being in high school and watching the Kobe-Shaq duo, it was the most dominant duo that I have personally seen in my life from a basketball perspective. Hadn't seen, obviously, we knew the force that Shaq brought to the table, but the elegance and force that Kobe played with as well. They were very dominant in what they did on the floor, on both sides of the floor. So to be in a conversation with those 2 guys, myself and Anthony, and myself and AD, he's going to kill me. Myself and AD, it's just very humbling because, I mean, I know I grew up watching those guys. I grew up admiring Kobe, obviously, for, you know, kid coming straight out of high school. So, you know, admired that kid that was young and got the opportunity and obviously the force that Shaq played with. So just very humbling, and we're happy that we can be even mentioned with those greats.
LeBron, both AD and Frank kind of indicated that they, even though it's a win, they weren't totally happy with how things went today, defensively, especially. Frank had mentioned. Do you agree with that? And if so, what concerns you about?
No, I definitely agree. And myself, coach, and AD was not happy with our defensive presence tonight. We know we can be a lot better, and we're just from. You know, myself and AD, we're not satisfied, and with, you know, just a win. We want to be great. We want to be great. You know, as close to 48 minutes as possible. And I know I said it after game 1, but I'm extremely excited to watch the film tomorrow as well as a group and see ways we can be better. We're playing against a very dangerous team in Miami where, you know, they have 5 guys on the floor that's a threat, as they've shown tonight. So we have to continue to stay on our P's and Q's and cross our T's and dot our I's throughout the course of the game. And just, you know, if we have a breakdown, being able to cover for one another, but they do a great job of putting your defense in positions that you may not be accustomed to. So we definitely was not happy with our performance defensively tonight. And hopefully we can be, well, we know, not hopefully, we know we'll be better in game 3.
Allison. LeBron, if you indulge me on the Kobe-Shaq line of questioning, obviously Shaq, big post presence, a 5 as much as a 5 can be, Kobe perimeter and all that. You and AD seem to have elements, maybe a bit of both of their games. I don't know if you would agree with that, but if you do, could you describe how maybe both of you are a bit of a hybrid of what those guys brought to the court?
Well, I guess if you look at the sense of the size and the power and the speed that Shaq at his size here, say that, and then you look at the elegance and the ability to shoot the ball and the ability to play in the paint as well, post up, get into the perimeter. I guess you can say that you can have some of AD's game that can compare to Kobe's game in that sense. Obviously, we're all 4 of us, we're all different positions. You know, Kobe was a natural 2 guard. I'm kind of a, I don't know, whatever position. Shaq is a center, and AD is kind of a hybrid as well. So, but I guess all 4 of us, we have a winning mentality, and we just try to make enough plays out on the floor throughout the course of the game that would benefit not only ourselves individually, but for the most important thing, for the better of the team. And I can't even believe that we, up here talking about myself and AD with Kobe and Shaq. I mean, it's an incredible thing.
In the third quarter, you guys had an 18-point lead, and pretty close to that point, the Heat had a timeout, and UD was talking to the guys and really fired up. And at that point, it seemed like there was maybe a turn in momentum, and they started attacking aggressively. What do you know about UD that makes him impactful to a bench of players like that, even though he himself is not playing in the game?
Just check his resume. It's that simple. I mean, he's put in the work. He's been there. He's been through everything that the Heat franchise have seen. He's seen it all. He's done it all. I mean, just check his resume. So, and he's it's not many guys that talk about it and also be about it. He's one of them. And if you want to be in a foxhole, that's somebody you want to be in a foxhole with.
Dan?
LeBron, you used the word force probably 6 or 7 times in the first 2 answers today. How important has your team's ability to play with force made a difference in these first 2 games?
Well, I think I was talking about force because Shaq's name came up, and there's no way that you can talk about Shaq and not that word come up. From a team's perspective, I think we've done a good job of, one, not turning the ball over, but also still being able to play with force, as you would say, play with tempo offensively, get good looks, get looks that we like, make or miss, and live with the results. Now, we have to play with that type of force defensively, but also from a cerebral side as well, from thinking the game a little bit better as they're going through their offense and their pace and their force as well. So we got to be a lot better, obviously, on that side.
We'll send it back to Will for a couple.
All right, y'all take a couple more. Andy Kamenetsky.
Hey, LeBron. When you guys advanced past Denver, Frank was talking about the relationship he has with you, and he said that the buy-in that you had with him as a coach and the immediacy of that buy-in did a lot for this team and where you are right now. What was it about Frank that gave you that immediate buy-in and that you gravitated towards quickly?
For one, from a competitive standpoint, going against Frank's teams in Indiana when we had our battles when I was in Miami, you understood how well those teams were coached. And it starts, with the head coach. And the players are an extension of the head coach. So I had that memory of that, just battling those Indiana Pacer teams. And for me, I've always been a coachable player throughout my whole life. I've played for multiple coaches, and I've always been a coachable player. So, the respect, more importantly, he's the head coach, and the head coach should have the respect from all his players, no matter who you are, if you're really serious about trying to make an impact or really trying to do something special. So, it was just that simple for me personally.
Well, here's a crazy stat for you. The Lakers have not blown a fourth-quarter lead all season. They are 54-0 regular season and playoffs. Now, according to Elias, that's the best such record in a single season in the shot clock era. The 2 teams right below them, 96 Bulls, 68 Celtics. Yeah, they both won an NBA title. Lakers are 2 wins.
It seemed like the Lakers, again, their size and physicality was a factor, especially on the glass. How big of an impact do you think that was?
Yeah, it clearly was. in those moments of truth, when we had opportunities, you know, to get the game closer, it usually seemed to end up in some kind of offensive rebound or something near the basket. But this is the deal. And if you want something badly enough, you'll figure out how to overcome it. They have a great size, and Anthony Davis is, you know, an elite player. We're trying to get something accomplished, and you just have to go to another level. That's the bottom line. I love a lot of the things, the way we competed tonight, but I think another level would have put us in a position to have an opportunity, a real opportunity there at the end, and that's what you want. And that's part of the process of learning, how to get to that next level. So we got some time tomorrow to review it, own it, and get better.
Next question, Tab Deportes.
Hi, Coach. The next game maybe will be the most important game of the series for you guys. What is the biggest adjustment the team needs to do to win the next game?
Yeah, every game is the most important game. Tonight was the most important game. But we'll get to work tomorrow. I need to look at the film. We need to get together as a team and come up with a plan, for Game 3.
Thank you.
All right, next question, Mark Schwartz.
Erik, two things. One, what does another level look like right now with Bam and Goran on the sideline? And two, what is it about your group, to watch Udonis talk to them in the third quarter? You can see the passion and the resiliency in that guy's veins.
Yeah.
What is it about your group that can overcome what the world thinks is an impossible mountain?
We don't give a shit what everybody else thinks. Whatever, your first question, how did you phrase it? What will it take? Whatever is necessary. It's as simple as that. If you want something badly enough, you'll figure it out. And our group is extremely stubborn, persistent, and we just need to figure out, how to overcome this opponent, and that we respect the quality, high quality of opponent that we're playing. You got to figure it out and overcome it.
Malika?
So you said after last game that you just didn't think it was a good example of Heat basketball. Tonight, where does that fall on the line between Heat basketball and very far away from Heat basketball?
Malika, I'm not necessarily going to grade it. I mean, certainly it was a much better competitive disposition. Our guys brought it. And look, if it ends up being whatever it was, 10, 12-point game, then we need to make up 10, 12 points to overcome that, 13, 14 points to make sure we get the win. That's what we'll get to work on. But look, I love these guys. I love the way we compete. We have to figure out how to overcome this.
Down 2-0, and you're up against LeBron and Anthony Davis, and they say this series is over. What don't those people know about you and this organization?
That we're never giving up. We're gonna fight, and we're gonna ride with this thing till the wheels fall off. It's not over. We're just down on 2. We got to do something special. We're capable of it. And I wouldn't want to be in the trenches with any other guys except for the ones that we have.
What is it about your group and you that can overcome this kind of adversity and this kind of situation?
I think we just believe. We believe in one another. We believe in what we put together, and we believe in what we do every day. But like I said at the beginning of this thing, we got to play damn near perfect in order to beat those guys over there. We've yet to do it, and if we don't do it soon, it's not going to be pretty.
Rachel, here.
Udonis Haslem gave you guys quite the speech in the third quarter. I would repeat what he said, but I would be fined by the FCC. There was a pickup after that. What words can you repeat that he said, and what was the effect?
Play harder. Empty the tanks. That's what we're going to have to do whenever we're down two stars like Bam and Goran. Everybody got to lock in. We got to be, three places at once. It's so hard to do, but we got guys that have to do it. That's what it's going to take to beat this team. That's what he said, play harder. That's what it's going to take for us to win a championship, play harder. Do I feel it affecting me? Oh, yeah. I think that we got to do it from the jump, though. It shouldn't take him telling us to do that, But I like the way that we responded to it. But we got guys that when you tell them what it is, we normally respond. So maybe he should just start the game off cussing people out.
Next question, Nick Friedel.
Jimmy, speaking of communication, you said the other night that you didn't need to say anything because everybody knew what to do and knew what you hadn't done in game one. As you go into game three now, do you feel like you have to go individually to guys and give them a little pick-me-up speech to keep everybody's spirits up, given all the adversity you're facing?
I think everybody's spirits are already up. I think we know that we still have yet to rebound in basketball. When you're giving guys 2-3 shots at putting the ball in the basket, eventually one of them's going to go in. I like the looks that we're taking on offense. We generated enough points. Maybe we get back a little bit, foul a little bit less, but the main thing is rebounding. I don't think that we have to tell anybody that. Like I said earlier, maybe we just got to play a lot harder and know that that's how we're going to squeak out a win in the end. But there's really not too much to say to our guys. We understand what we have to do.
Next question, Manny Navarro.
Frank, Mike Friedel. On the walk-off for Spectrum, AD's basically said that he wasn't satisfied with the way that you guys as a team played overall. Thought there were a lot of places that things could improve. So despite winning by that margin, what do you take away from his reaction to the game?
I agree with him. Particularly on the defensive end, we knew they were going to be different. And, with no Bam, they bring 5 3-point shooters. And, their movement offense is very difficult to guard no matter who's in uniform. But we definitely have to do a better job, in particular on the defensive end. I thought we attacked offensively really well. Had one of our, we had a poor shooting night from perimeter. But I liked the quality of the shots for the most part. And, even having a poor shooting night, we still end up with an offensive rating of 136. So I was pleased with what we did on that end of the floor. Obviously you can always get better on both sides, but defensively we got to be better.
Greg, just wonder what those conversations are like in practice with LeBron, with Rondo about dissecting his zone, and you guys just getting to that level of talking about who's.
Yeah, just we know the spacing that we want to get to. In a few different alignments. Obviously, a lot of teams don't have 10, 15, 20 different zone offensive plays like they do with man-to-man. But there's a few different alignments we want to get to out of the zone that we feel are favorable to the offense. We got a lot of them tonight. And, obviously Doe and Bron and our whole group has a great ability to communicate where the holes are, what they're looking for, and work together in those types of things.
Frank, what were you seeing happening in the third quarter there when they cut that 18-point lead to 9, especially defensively?
In the third quarter, you said?
Yeah, when they cut down, you guys had an 18-point lead and they cut it all the way down to 9, and just wondering what you saw.
Yeah, this team has a lot of fight, and like I said, they're extremely difficult to guard no matter who's in uniform. It doesn't matter that they have some guys out; they're a deep team. And, with Bam out, they become different from a standpoint of more spacing at the three-point line, which presents different kinds of challenges. Obviously, Bam is an all-star, one of their best players, but, they become different, with him and Dragic out. And, those guys played extremely hard, kept fighting to cut into the lead. Like I said, we got to do some things better, a lot of things better on the defensive end, but that's what that's what getting to work and the process is all about. Review the film, meet tomorrow as a team, and make some improvements.
Awesome.
Start with David Veneman.
Frank, this is the first time a pair of Laker teammates scored 30-plus in a finals game since Shaq and Kobe back in 2002. what is the way that Anthony and LeBron are able to dominate at the same time? Do they take turns? Do they feed the hot hand? How do they kind of work it out together that way?
Well, they both, and our whole team attacks the defense and reads. You know what I mean? And obviously they both have the ability to score against single coverage, so to speak, whatever action you're talking about. But they're both willing passers. So sometimes they're feeding each other. Sometimes they're destroying their own man. And sometimes they're making the extra pass to the open man. Both have that elite ability to score and to read defense. So again, big reason. Those two were huge tonight. And a big reason.